Huge warning to all Americans and people worldwide. 2024 is going to be the biggest transition you've ever seen in American history. In today's video, I'm going to break down Ray Dalio's Changing World Order, and I'm going to show you the facts, figures, numbers, logic. And after this video, if you're not convinced that America is about to go through the most radical transformation spiritually, mentally, and financially, then I don't know what to tell you. My name is Coach JV. What I work to do is make very complex macro and microeconomic strategies very simple so the normal everyday person can implement them. We've helped hundreds of people understand how I pull high profit, high risk from the left side of the risk pyramid. I pull it down the right side to lower risk, lower return tier one capital. I personally use insurance to insure my wealth. Rule number one is don't lose money, Warren Buffett. Rule number two is follow rule number one. So I pull from high risk, high return, and I insure my family and my wealth. If you'd like to know how we do that, click the description of this video down below. You can set up an absolutely free consultation with my licensed insurance team, or click my social media platform, boom, set up a free consultation. I also have my 3T Warrior Academy, which is completely separate from my insurance organization. You can also download my free book and learn my patterns on exactly what I do, or explore the Warrior Academy. All right, so let's dive into this. So this is going to be a longer video. So you're going to want to maybe put it on 1.5 or 2 times speed. Get your pen and paper out, and I'm going to break down history and financial literacy. Okay, so if you have not checked out Ray Dalio's Changing World Order, every single person should go check out his YouTube channel, and I recommend you buy his book, The Changing World Order, or The Big Debt Crisis, or both. Now, there's a lot of information in there, but you can see that history helps you predict the future. So we're going to start out with this chart, and then I'm going to break it down for you guys all the way from 1913 to 2024, where we stand right now. So if we look at the top here, you got number 10. Okay. So we'll back up to number 9 here. So number 9 is less productive. 10 is overextended. 11 is losing competitiveness. 12 is wealth gap. And then it starts to get dark where you start to decline, and then you go into a new world, which is large debts, printing of money, internal conflict, loss of reserve currency, weak leadership, and civil war and revolution. So we're going to focus on 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, and 18. So I want you to take a picture of this, and I want you to think about this as I break down each step of the way. Okay. So if we look at December 23rd, 1913, the Federal Reserve was created on an island called Jekyll Island. I highly recommend you guys read the book Creature of Jekyll Island. So you want to understand what the Federal Reserve is. Okay. So it took many months and nearly a straight party line voting, but in December 23rd, 1913, the Senate passed and President Woodrow Wilson signed the Federal Reserve Act. The need for a central bank became painfully evident during the financial panic of 1907. The key I want you to understand is anytime there's huge financial loss or financial panic, they always bring in a new form of regulation or a new form of currency. So I want you to write that part down, okay? Anytime there's big shock to the system, it brings in new regulation, it brings in new innovative technologies and new currencies, okay? Then we were cruising along. Then we went into the stock market. Sorry, my allergies are going crazy. The stock market crash of 1929. On Black Monday, October 28th, 1929, the Dow Jones Industrial Average declined by nearly 13%. Federal Reserve leaders differed on how to respond to the event and support the financial system. Okay, so we wanted to pay attention to this. So 1929, remember that date. Okay, so we had 1907. There was a huge financial downturn. By 1913, we had the Federal Reserve. And by 1929, now remember, their job is to control the money supply and to balance out the job markets. But again, even with the Federal Reserve in place, we had a huge stock market collapse. Okay. So 1929 is a key date. Then 10 years later, we went into World War II, which began in 1939 and it ended in 1945. So about 6 years was the deadliest, most destructive war in history. Before the war, Germany, America, and the rest of the world were going through a Great Depression. Okay. Key: depressions, recessions, war. After war, innovation, technology, new superpowers, and regulation. Okay. Remember, depressions, recessions, war, new technology, new government structures, and new superpowers. This happens over and over again in history. I want you to pay attention and think about where we're at in America, okay? So the economy was very bad, okay? Where are we at right now? Unemployment was at an all-time high. We are heading towards that. A massive inflation caused money to lose its value. More than 50 nations in the world were fighting with more than 100 million soldiers deployed. Okay, so I want you to read that again. The economy was very bad. Unemployment was at an all-time high, and massive inflation caused the money to lose value. Then we go to war. What are we on the brink of? World War III. Okay. Then we went into the great responsibility and the new world power. The aftermath of World War, okay, confirmed the importance of isolation to many Americans. The war to end all wars ultimately failed to live up to its name, and the Americans were worried once again of getting involved in foreign conflicts. Before the start of World War II, the idea of the United States as a leading global power was not an ambition of American politicians. Most Americans remained content to let the other powers, such as Great Britain, fill that role. By the end of World War II, however, the United States stood as one of the two global powers alongside the Soviet Union, which had experienced a similar unexpected rise to power. Far from isolation that characterized U.S. global politics, the immediate aftermath of World War II established a clear desire among Americans' political and economic leaders to protect this newfound power and to secure the United States as a leader of the free world. Okay, so after World War II, they're like, we want to protect this power. Now, what this did was, though, it got to our heads. We took this power and we weaponized it against all other countries. Now, I'm going to show you how we weaponize that and what other countries are currently doing. Okay. So then we go to 1971. So we fast forward. This is President Nixon on a regular program show. In 1971, they detached us from the gold standard, making our money fake fiat money. That's a system you sit in today. So in 1971, they said that they're protecting us from speculators, but they actually did not have our gold. That's why they switched the system.
And building the new prosperity is closely related to creating new jobs and halting inflation. We must protect the position of the American dollar as a pillar of monetary stability around the world. In the past 7 years, there's been an average of one international monetary crisis every year. Now, who gains from these crises? Not the working man, not the investor, not the real producers of wealth. The gainers are the international money speculators. Because they thrive on crises, they help to create them.
He just said it. He literally gave you the secret hidden in plain sight.
In recent weeks, the speculators have been waging an all-out war on the American dollar.
What's happening right now?
The strength of a nation's currency is based on the strength of that nation's economy. And the American economy is by far the strongest in the world. Accordingly, I have directed the Secretary of the Treasury to take the action necessary to defend the dollar against the speculators. I have directed Secretary Connally to suspend temporarily the convertibility of the dollar into gold or other reserve assets, except in amounts and conditions determined to be in the interest of monetary stability and in the best interest of the United States.
Okay, so basically what he was saying is we don't have your gold. Okay, we're protecting you from speculators. What that did is it made your money fiat. It made your money fake money, okay? So from 1971 to about 1974, I apologize if I get the actual date wrong. Now, all of a sudden, the Petro Dollar came into play in 1974. I think it's 1974 or 1970. Yeah, 1978, the 401 was created. 1974, we went into the Petro Dollar. So from 1971, they detached us from the gold standard. Then we went into the Petro Dollar, in which is we gave protection to Saudis and arms to trade all oil in US dollars. So that was huge for America. That was massive for America. It made us the dominant global superpower. Now, the problem with that for the other countries was that every single time we raise interest rates or lower interest rates, okay, we raise interest rates or we lower interest rates. Let me change these two things right here, okay? We lower interest rates or we change interest rates, it affects the other economies. We're the bully of all the economies in the world, okay? Then you fast forward, we're going to skip the dot-com boom and all that stuff. We're going to go into the 2008 housing crisis. Now, this is just my opinion and what I'm studying and understanding. So from 2006 to 2008, we went through the biggest financial housing crisis in history. So it says, don't blame the federal housing programs for Wall Street's recklessness. Contrary to conservative arguments, the 2008 housing crisis was caused by unregulated and loosely regulated private financial entities, not the federal government supporting for home ownership. So basically what happened is there was no regulation, guys. I went into banking back into 2007, 2008, and we had people losing their homes that came in that had no income stated loans, that had $1 million homes. So think about that. You're in another country where America is dominating your currency. And then you see this happen in America. Well, there was a response to that, a huge response to that, in my opinion. The first BRICS summit was in June 16th, 2009. So Brazil, Russia, India, China, and South Africa came together right after the biggest financial collapse in our history and came together to form BRICS. Okay, a powerful union that has been working to de-dollarize from the American dollar. Ironically, in the same year, Bitcoin's inception was created. Write that down. BRICS was created in 2009, and Bitcoin's inception was in 2009. Is there a direct correlation? I have no clue. But what I do know is something was already changing in the financial system. Then we fast forward to 2012. The FOMC was created, Future Oversight Committee. Gary Gensler was part of creating that committee, okay, who's part of the SEC now. We had Rosie Rios, who was told to reduce coin and cash usage in 2012, but she couldn't because of the increase in GDP, because Obama's rescue plan turned the printing machine on full blast. In 2012, they also created the Bank Bail-In Committee, where Jay Clayton sits on the board now for the Bank Bail-In Committee. He's the one that initiated a case against Ripple around Xrp being a security. Is there connections there? I don't know. You'd have to think for yourself. Okay, so we back up 1913. We had the Federal Reserve created. We have 1929. The biggest, stock market crash, the Black Monday. Then we go to World War II. Okay, we come out of World War II. There's peace and prosperity. We go into 1971. They detach us from the gold standard to protect us from speculators. Okay, so let's fast forward, okay, from 2012, and now we go into the C word. Okay, money printing and inflation. So more money was printed than in history from 2020 to 2022. Think about that for just a moment. Okay, as of March 2021, the C word cost total 5.2 trillion. World War II cost 4.7 trillion in dollars today. So just 2 years cost just as much as 6 years of World War II. All in money printing totaled 13 trillion, 5.2 million for the C word, and 4.5 for quantitative easing, plus 3 for infrastructure. Mountains and money caused inflation. So inflation caused increases in interest rates and lowering of bond prices, which inverted the bond yield in 2023, which caused the banking crisis and the first bank collapse. They gave them those little Federal Reserve loans. Those ran out March 11, 2024. And we saw our first bank collapse already in 2024. Okay. So then we move forward a little bit through this crazy time from 2020 to 2024. And right now, what BRICS is doing, they announced in March 2024 that BRICS will create payment systems based on digital currency blockchain. For some time now, BRICS grouping has been making an effort to reduce the resilience on the US dollar. Okay, so we can argue back and forth all day. We can say that nothing's going to happen, but I'll tell you what. Okay, so let's go back to this really quickly. I want to show you guys something. Are you following along with this part? Okay, so we've proved, we know well, I didn't talk about the wealth gaps, but the wealth gap since 1971 has just become unbelievable. So we're less productive. I don't know if we're less productive in America. I can't prove that. We're overextended. Yep. Loss of competitiveness. Absolutely. America is like the black eye of the world now. Wealth gaps are massive. Large debts. Do you agree? Well, I'm going to show you how Treasury Secretary Janet Yellen doesn't even know what our debt is at. The Treasury Secretary. But we know we're at 34 trillion. That is unsustainable. Jerome Powell said it's unsustainable. Printing of money. We printed more money than in history, more money than World War II cost in less than 24 months. Internal conflict. I'm going to show you that in just a moment. Loss of a reserve currency. America is still the dominant currency, and it's not going to collapse tomorrow. It's not going to collapse in 2025. There's going to be a transition, in my opinion, to a new bag of currencies. And we're going to go into World War III, and then there's going to be, remember, you wrote it down, innovation, technology, new regulation, and new governmental structures, and a new superpower. Weak leadership, that's up to you to decide. And then I'm going to prove to you the Civil War and Revolution. Civil War and Revolution is when Americans within their own community start to turn against each other. Well, here's the Treasury Secretary of the United States in front of the House, and listen when they ask her how much the debt is.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Good afternoon, Secretary. Come over on this side. There we go. Fooled me too. I'd like to just clarify with you for those listeners watching this today, the impact of your budget on the debt. Can you tell me the current level of our debt?
Watch
What's
this.
the current debt amount?
Watch this. Look at her.
It's about 34 trillion,
Yeah.
which includes
Okay.
debt held.
She had to look through a spreadsheet that they provided for her. That's your Treasury Secretary. You can comment all you want in my comments, telling me that I'm full of crap. But that's your Treasury Secretary trying to go through papers. She should know at the top of her head, and they should be losing sleep every single night, knowing that we're 34 trillion in debt, that there's more debt in the system than there is income, and every single dollar in America is someone else's debt, that we have to borrow to pay for critical services just to keep our country going. We're in high inflation. They're not really high interest rates. Guys, these are not high interest rates. These are pretty decent interest rates. Money was cheap for way too long. And do you think they give a shit about the middle class? Absolutely not. They're trying to make you believe that they're going to tax the rich. They're going to go after the rich. Guys, when they go after the rich, guess what? It affects the middle class. Because when you raise taxes on people that make $400,000 a year and more, and most people making $400,000 a year or more are the people that own the big corporations, guess what? They're going to let go of team members. You have to understand financial literacy and how history works. So now here we are in Civil War and Revolution. May 4th, 2024, look at the campus protest updates. There's updates on these campus protests happening over and over and over again, guys. It's happening. The separation between the left and right is here. The separation between consciousness is here. You want to call it the rapture, the great awakening. The biggest shift in our living history is here. What's done in darkness always comes to light. We win 100% of the time. God wins. There is no enemy. There's nobody to protest against. There's nobody to fight against. Christ Jesus came and told and gave us the answer back to the light. It's through your heart. It's through your heart. He came back after 18 years on a donkey, humbled and inverted all the teachings. Slap me on one cheek, I'll let you slap me on the other. Sue me for my shirt, I'll give you my jacket. You tell me to walk a mile, I'll walk 2 with you. And he went from village to village, not church to church. He went from village to village, finding broken characters just like you and me and exposing us to the truth that we are made in the likeness and image, that we have free will to walk, to talk, to think, and to take action. And just like the guy waiting for the fountain, just like everybody waiting for a president to come back or waiting for Jesus to come out of the sky, he walked up to that person, risking his life in front of all these people that wanted to take him out. And he walked up to the guy on the mat and he looked him in the eyes and said, "Do you want to be healed? Don't look around. Do you want to be healed?" And the man said, "Yes." And he says, "Pick up your mat and walk." There's nobody coming to save you. Think about that for just a moment. The Bible is a living, breathing organism of you and humanity. Humanity repeats cycles over and over and over again. And unfortunately or fortunately, it is the greatest time to build your family's wealth. And I'm talking from a spiritual level all the way to a financial level. I didn't create the monetary system. I didn't create the fact that I have to pay a mortgage and I have to pay rent for these buildings that we work our businesses through. But as Jesus said when they tried to mock him, "Who do we pay our taxes to?" He grabs a coin out of the gentleman's hands. He says, "Whose face is on this coin?" They said, "Caesar." He said, "Pay your taxes to Caesar. Give to God what is his." I'm going to start crying. "Give to me what is mine." Pay your taxes to Caesar. Give to God what is his, and give to me what is mine. My friend, We are mere reflections of each other. There is no separation. Christ is the greatest redeemer. He shows us that we are made in the likeness and image, and that what we are arguing about was created by the prince of the earth, the devil. There is no separation. About 1% or less of our DNA is what separates us. And they take the less than 1% and they make us fight against each other. This is the greatest time in human history, not the worst time in human history. And when you wake up to that level of consciousness and you take no thought, and as Jesus said, let your eye be single and your body be filled with light, get up into that upper room and into the supper and into the middle ground, and understand that nobody's coming to save you, that you can, you will, you must, you should never give up. And that's what's happening within the four walls of your house. What's done in darkness will always come to light. You take no thought. You allow your body to fill with light. You love your neighbor. You love God as you love your neighbor as you love God. You treat others as you want to be treated, and you pull the log out of your eye before you pull the straw out of others. And you're going to be doing pretty well. So I hope this information reaches your heart. And I want to let you know that I love you very, very much. I genuinely love you. Believe it or not, hater or not, whatever it is. How can I not love you? How can I not love you? You're a reflection of me. I'm a reflection of you. And I love God. Therefore, you are a creation of God. And so I love you. So I appreciate you guys. I hope this information kind of helps you ease your heart. Guys, don't get caught up in the game. This is a cycle. It happens over and over again. As you look this way, there's always another narrative going on this way. So I love you. I appreciate you. As we always say, warriors, rise, get your shit together. Everything in the description of this video down below or in my social media platform. I'll see you on the inside.